All right, Stokastic. It's your old pal Emac coming to you on a Saturday for a little baseball action, joined by Matt Bellman. We have not one but two slates. We will be covering both of them. We are the only show doing baseball today. Matt, how are you doing here as we collect our?
I am good. I got a sick household over here, everyone but me. So happy to escape that for a little bit and talk some MLB with you.
I That's always a little nerve wracking because you know you're probably next.
Yes, this is true. My wife got it first about a week ago, last weekend. She was really struggling, and then my daughter now has it. So it'll probably come to me next, but maybe I can avoid it. We shall see.
All right. Well, fingers crossed here. How has your MLB season been going? Mine has been rather rough this year.
Yeah, it's been a rough start. Been close a couple times, but not, couldn't quite get to the mountaintop. And then, a lot of slates just haven't had the stack you needed, which is MLB DFS in a nutshell. My pitchers have let me down earlier in the season, more so than I'm used to. So hopefully can avoid that today, although don't feel great about the SB2 options, at least on the early slate.
It is pretty thin. We're going to get into that in just a second. Guys, hit that like button as you wander on in here. I think we're close to about 50 people, so we'll start our analysis in just a second. Yeah, similarly for me, I've been having a rough start, and usually baseball is my best sport. It's a long season. There are a lot of slates. It feels good to get those good days under your belt. That hasn't happened yet. So I'm not panicking, but what I have done is I've refocused. I'm not building 150 from this point going forward. I'm building 100, and I'm going to pay a little more attention to what it is that I'm getting and what I'm doing. I've had some nice spots here, but overall, just haven't, like you said, I haven't been able to break free on anything. So it's been a little rough. Sports wagering has been going okay. For those of you that are not aware, anybody can get a 7-day free trial from us here at OddsShopper through the Portfolio EV tool. That is down in the link is down in the description. I also put forth a bet each day, so I'm going to hurt my shoulder like a pitcher, patting myself on the back. I did say to ladder the strikeouts for Nick Pivetta yesterday because we got a good situation where it was the day after the Rockies had been on a homestand in Coors, and that usually takes a day for teams leaving Coors, and especially the Rockies if they've been there for more than a series or two, to reacclimate to breaking pitches. Now this doesn't always happen, and a lot of times they don't play. They leave on a Wednesday and they don't play until Friday. So it's one of those where you have to pick your spots. But that was a good one. He ended up with 10 strikeouts last night. So I don't do that very often. It's got to be the right situation, and it needs to be the right pitcher as well. But that's one you can kind of pay attention to. It usually lines up about 4, maybe 5 times a season where it's what you want. So if it's not a strikeout pitcher, it's not really going to work for those, or if they have time off, etc. It's not going to work. But these are the little things that we want to pay attention to because it's those little edges. So looking at our pitchers here, Matt, I think most everybody is going to coalesce around Sandy Alcantara. He is, it's him, or maybe Richard Fitz would be the other route I would go. But I see we have a nice collected group here of top pitchers. It's pretty evenly spread. You've got Alcantara going against the Washington Nationals. So let's look at the starting lineup here because yesterday
the CJ Abrams list.
Yep,
Washington
he hurt
Nationals. He's
yep,
on the
he
IL.
hurt his. Oh, did he go on the IL? Oh, he's on like almost all of my season-long teams. He hurt his hip stealing a base last night, so that's kind of unfortunate. But it's putting Alex Call, James Wood, a lot of pressure on those guys, a lot of pressure on Jacob Young. I see that they don't have Dylan Cruz in the lineup today. It's all shaping up pretty well for Alcantara. I've made my lineups. I have him on 50% of my lineups, kind of matching the field. What is your approach with him today?
I'm just going to play Sandy here. I'm a big fan in general of Alcantara. Like, I know that he's not the perfect play. Like, he obviously missed all of last season. He hasn't been like Cy Young like in his first couple starts, but he's been good enough. You know, I don't like, using right-handed pitchers against Washington usually, but no CJ Abrams, good ballpark for pitching, and we just don't have options today. So, like, yeah, I think he's overowned, much like Pivetta was overowned yesterday. Gavin Williams was overowned the day before, and it's not always going to work out like that, but, you know, good luck finding two other pitchers you feel comfortable with. So Sandy is a guy I'm just going to play. I think I'm playing 4 lineups today. I'll probably have him in all 4. I just don't really feel the need to get off of him. Like, I get it if someone wants to get off of him in tournaments because of the ownership, but that's the only reason to get away from him in my eyes. And that's not enough for me today. And usually when it comes to pitchers, because as I like to say, MLB slates are usually not won at pitcher. They can be lost, but they're usually not won. Now, certainly there are outlier performances, 10 plus strikeouts, no hitters, complete game shutouts. But outside of those, you usually just need your pitchers to be competent. And I feel comfortable that Alcantara can be that today.
Sure. I would agree with that. You mentioned Cy Young. He was the Cy Young Award winner in 2022. T. McBee and I kind of joked back and forth about that one. We called it kind of the Lifetime Achievement Award because he wasn't dominant, but he was the best pitcher all season, and he was working deep into games. At the end of 2023, he hurt his UCL. Of course, that cost him a Tommy John surgery, and as Matt mentioned, he did not pitch at all last year in the majors, but expectations are he should be good to go going forward. Just a little bit rusty. This is a great place for him to sort of get his sea legs back. After this, we've got some interesting options. So we have Drew Rasmussen going. I never know if it's Rasmussen or Rasmussen. I think it's Rasmussen.
I think it's Rasmussen, but
Rasmussen.
There.
All right,
yeah.
Rapunzel, let down your hair. He's interesting going against Tampa, but let's remember Tampa's now playing outside this year. They're at George Steinbrenner Field. That has similar dimensions to Yankee Stadium. It is the Yankees spring training complex. One of their Class A teams also plays there, if I remember correctly. Weather. It's warm here in Tampa today. It's not super humid. Humidity is in the 40 to 45% range, but there is a 12 to 17 mile an hour breeze going out to left field there. To right field, which will help the left-handed hitters going against Drew and going against AJ Smith-Shawver. What do you want to do with that duo? Because when healthy, Drew has shown signs of being a good pitcher. We have the struggling Braves. I capped him at 20%, and that's where I'll be playing him today. But I didn't want to cross him off my list.
Yeah, for me, I think that as far as talent goes, Rasmussen is the second best pitcher on the slate behind Sandy. But I hate the spot. I hate the ownership. So I feel fine getting away from him. He doesn't look that much different to me than the guys that are a little bit cheaper. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a better pitcher than those other guys, but I think the spot's much worse. So give me Dick Fitz over Rasmussen today at $1,000 cheaper. Like, I get it. I think Rasmussen, again, I'll repeat, is the better pitcher, but I'm not looking to go out of my way to pick on the Braves in really nice hitting weather, in a small ballpark. So for me, I'm probably not going to play Rasmussen, although, like, again, I have no arguments with anyone that does because the pitching options are weak. And as far as talent goes, he's the second best pitcher on the slate pretty clearly in my eyes.
Yeah. And I'm looking at my stuff here. I capped him at 30%. I didn't want to misspeak there, but coming in under the field. And that's sort of where I landed was with him as being a good pitcher. But in looking at it, I didn't get as much fits as I was hoping for here. I'm not going to use the phrasing on that one since we don't need this clipped and running around the internet. I said Fitz. That's it. I didn't do any of the other stuff that you changed his name. You're going with his nickname. I don't know if there's...
For him to be named that, he deserves to be called that. So
well,
that's just how I look at it.
Which is better, Dick Trickle, the NASCAR driver, or
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Neither. I you know, yeah, they're both bad.
Rich Hill, Dick Mountain?
That's just clever. Like, I don't think there's anything bad about that. I just think that's clever. The mountain stuff, but yeah, to be named Dick Fitz your whole life is a tough scene.
Yeah, we had growing up, the superintendent of our school district was Richard Johnson, and he went by Dick Johnson.
Yeah, that's you're just setting yourself up to get teased and bullied your entire life.
Oh, all right. Continuing down, and we're going to do both slates here, everybody, so not to fear. I'm okay with Martin Perez. He does an adequate job of run prevention. He usually doesn't get destroyed on the mound. Is he a good pitcher? No, he tries to survive on ground balls. He is a homeless man's, poor man's Framber Valdez, and he gives up a little bit more home runs. But if you go look at his starts every year, he usually only has 4 or 5 starts where he gives up more than 4 or 5 earned runs. He just is never dominating. So he's the kind of guy that can kind of suck the life out of a stack there. There's another phrasing one for everybody here on this afternoon. I can hear my wife cringing in the background there. So he is someone I'm okay as an SP2. To your point, not an implosion type pitcher. Not a great one, but not an implosion type pitcher. Any thoughts on anybody else here down on the dregs?
No, I mean, I think your call is right on there. Like, I'm not excited about playing Martin Perez, but this is a slate where Trevor Williams is in play. So, like, yeah, I mean, Martin Perez, tough matchup. I'm not excited about facing Boston, but they're also getting ownership. Weather's still chilly in Chicago. I could get on board with Perez. Like, I prefer Fitz, but it's really not something that I have a strong stance on. So a lot of these guys look similar to me. For me, I'm just going to take the matchup. Like, I know that the White Sox were good last night and they've had a couple spike games, but this lineup is atrocious. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, and Fitz gets that matchup today. So, like, yeah, he's not a great pitcher. He could implode here. I think his implosion, is more likely than a Martin Perez, just because we've seen Martin Perez do it for years. But, the matchup, I just can't get away from it. I think Fitz's upside is high because of that at that price. And, if nothing else, I just don't really see the White Sox like beating him around here. Could I be wrong? Sure, but that's how I see it.
All right. The roof is going to be open in Miami. That's one of the hardest places to find their updates, but just from their Twitter account, they say they put a meme out there that says the roof is open, bring your shades. So that takes a little bit away from Alcantara and Williams. Williams is the bringer of home runs. He's different than Martin Perez because he actually does have some strikeout ability, but he allows so much hard contact that you're playing with fire. So his range of outcomes is lower and higher than it is with Martin Perez. But sorry, I'm distracted there. It's in play. Bowden Francis Francis Bowden is the sorry Bowden.
It's Bowden Francis.
The 2 first names. What is your read on that one there in Baltimore? Doesn't look like there's going to be any weather issues.
Yeah, I hardly ever play him. I don't really stack against him. I think he's competent enough. He looks similar to the other pitchers on this slate. Mm-hmm. Like, I think talent-wise, he's the 3rd most talented pitcher on the slate right now behind Rasmussen. But, man, I'm not, like, excited about picking on Baltimore ever. So,
yeah.
I mean, I could live without Francis here. He looks like Rasmussen to me. I would play Francis over Rasmussen just because of the ownership, and I think they look similar. But with all these guys just owned about the same, give me Fitz against the White Sox.
All right. And then the last 2 guys we haven't mentioned is Tomoyuki Shigano there. Remember, he's 35, not really a prospect. He has pitched for quite some time in the Japanese league. If I remember correctly, he had like a roundabout path, or he played an extra year in college or something that was different than what a lot of pitchers are, but this is his age 35 season, and it's his first year in the majors. David Peterson's the other one. I'm surprised that we are getting such poor scores and metrics for him. He's someone that you like if you're playing season long, you can pick him up as a streaming pitcher, etc. He's going to have to face a lot of righty power in West Sacramento today against the Athletics. But he is someone that I am a little bit higher on than where we have in the tools. Again, we're looking at an SP2 here. I think I ended up with around 10 or 15% of him, which is about where the ownership is. Let me take a peek and see if that is still the case. Oh, it dropped to 4% when I added more Fitz into my life. I don't dislike him. We're picking the dog with the least amount of fleas is really what we're doing, to borrow.
I like that saying.
That's a turn of phrase from Gordon Gekko.
Never heard it before.
Never, really?
No, I'm going to add it to my arsenal. I like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if you were born when that movie came out.
I mean, it works perfect here. It works. It works absolutely perfect here. So I think that was well said. To be honest about Peterson, I like the A's a lot here. They're my favorite stack on the board. We'll get there. If they weren't and I wasn't playing the Athletics, I would play Peterson. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. His underlines just aren't great, and I've been picking on him. I'm waiting for him to implode, and I'm feeling it today with the Athletics.
Yeah, that's completely fair. All right, let me see if I can get the top pitcher tool to FanDuel for the. Let's see if I can screw this up. It always takes me a minute to remember which button you got to push here. There we go. FanDuel early. So on the FanDuel slate here, just quickly covering it, you're seeing a very similar, tightly grouped set of players. And that's where looking at going away from Alcantara is going to find you serious leverage against the field, as he's going to be on approximately half of all lineups. Peterson is on 11%. He's the next highest. Everybody is single digits after that. So everybody else has positive leverage. But now we're back to, the tried and true statement there from Matt. Pitching doesn't necessarily win you. It's the stacks and the double dongs and all of that that's going to win you the contests. But pitching is important. Alcantara looks good on FanDuel because of the ability to get quality starts. Again, he missed all of last year with the Tommy John recovery, but he'll get back to that ideally. Let's turn our attention to stacks here. You mentioned you liked Oakland. I will just hand it over to you to lead us off.
Yeah, so great ballpark for hitting. We know this Athletics lineup has power against left-handed pitching. Peterson's numbers are smoke and mirrors. His underlyings haven't been as good as his actual numbers for over a year. I just think this is a really rough spot for him. I like both sides of this game a lot. Obviously, the Mets look great against whoever's pitching for the Athletics here, but with the Athletics themselves coming in much lower owned, they're my favorite stack on the board. They've got some cheap pieces today against the lefty Luis Urias. I like a lot in the 7 hole. I mean, the top of their lineup just looks great. Jacob Wilson, who I've been on for a while, leading off today. So, yeah, I just think this lineup looks good. The ownership is right. They're coming in with leverage. They're just my favorite stack of the board. I like 1 through 9 here.
All right. I believe it's JT Ginn pitching today for the A's. Let's take a quick look at him. I totally agree with you. And despite me saying fun things there about Peterson, the Athletics are also my most popular stack. Next most popular is Tampa Bay going against AJ Smith Shawver. To kind of give you guys the book on Shawver, wrote this all up in the article this morning, a 7th round pick out of high school. He got just shy of $1 million signing bonus because the team wanted to entice him to not go play football and baseball. I think it was Texas Tech or TCU. I forget which school. So he went with them. They brought him along relatively slowly. He got as high as being their number 2 prospect and their top pitching prospect. He just hasn't really had a chance to break through. Walks have been an issue. The strikeouts are there, but walks are an issue. And that's something that's not going to be helpful against a team like Tampa Bay, which still has the institutional mandate of get on base, right? The 2%, the books that were written about them, how they took Moneyball to the next level, etc. They are, that's a team. And now in this ballpark, they have guys that make good contact, don't strike out, and at least have extra base hit upside. With the weather and the wind, that could be a problem for AJ today. So that's sort of where I've landed with Tampa. If this was in Tropicana Field, I would not feel the same about it. But when you look at, Brandon Lau, Junior Caminaro, Jonathan Aranda, or probably Arnada, those guys are all pretty solid there. And then Cameron, the one of 2 old prospects, Cameron Meisner, is your discount dandy. Jake Mangum is not in the lineup today. Those guys are 27 and 29 years old. So shout out for making it to the bigs, but it took a long time. But that's Tampa Bay and the Athletics are my top 2 stacks. I have about 30% of each.
So we didn't even talk about him. I get that. I get the Rays a lot. They're a team I've played not a ton this year, but in certain spots. I just think they're overowned here. I actually have some interest in Smith Shawver. Again, I just think Tampa's overowned. I think Smith Shawver has talent. Like, it hasn't really come to fruition yet at the major league level, but against a chalky offense on a slate with no pitching options, if I were playing a bunch of lineups, he'd be in my pool. That's all I'll say.
All right. What else do you have here? Everybody's just kind of in a scrum after that.
Yeah, I like Atlanta against Rasmussen. I mean, Atlanta's always a team I'm interested in when they're not getting a lot of ownership and they're facing a chalky pitcher today. Like, yeah, they're a team I like here. So, again, I like the A's and the Mets more, but Atlanta's a team I'm not afraid to get pieces of against, again, a popular Rasmussen who's good, but certainly not unfallible. Like, he can be hit, and I think that, Atlanta's got a ton of upside in this ballpark.
All right, everybody, let's talk NoVig here. That is our featured sponsor today. And of course, I don't have the right. Let's see if I can put that. Yeah, that looks like it's a baseball thing. Changing when everybody's using StreamYard, I forget to change the artifacts here. But drop the link into chat there. You can come through that link there and get a $10 deposit bonus when you put in $100 on NoVig. They are a peer-to-peer wagering site. So what they're doing is taking away players being limited because you are taking direct wagers from other players or other gamers. They're facilitating it, so you don't have to worry about not getting paid, etc. But that is kind of a new way to go. They are also available in a lot more states. Because of the certain carve-outs that have not fully yet been determined in the court if this is something you can do. So they are available in a ton of states. We also have them as part of our link join here. I will drop that in the chat as well. This is where if you guys sign up and you come through our link here, that you get 30 days of Stokastic Sims single sport premium. NoVig's not on this list here that I'm displaying on the screen, but they are. We'll get that graphic added. They are a part of this, so you can see all of the little accoutrements that you need to follow when you sign up here. When you go to that landing page, and then you can see there are now well over a dozen different operators. A lot of them you guys won't have signed up for: Vivid Picks, Sleeper, Chalkboard, NoVig, etc. It's a good way to get into Stokastic on the cheap. All right. Oh, that's why it works, because I changed that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, get producer. We'll see. Producer EMAC here. All right, let's take a look here at our featured slate. I don't think we had any. The only place that had weather issues, if I remember correctly, Matt, was going to be um, New York, and that game just got underway, the Yankees. So I think we're okay from that standpoint. On the night slate, depending on your site of choice, it's either starting at 7:10, which it is on FanDuel, and they're doing 5 games. DraftKings is going at 6:40, and they're bringing 6 games into the fray here. Pitching is it's another interesting one here on the slate. The two people I liked best are probably Brian Wu and Corbin Burns, followed by Kyle Hart. Now, Hart is your super cheapie. He has had a long and winding path, a long winding path to the show. Let's get my notes here. Was drafted in the 16th round at the 2016 draft after not 1, not 2, but 5 years with the University of Indiana before he even got drafted. He played with the Red Sox, got a call up during the wonky pandemic season in 2020, gave up 21 runs, 19 earned in 11 innings. He then wandered around Philadelphia, Seattle, and then ended up in the KBO last year. Like many pitchers, he reinvented himself in the KBO, actually won their equivalent of the Cy Young, and he's back now in our lives. He's cheap. He has a great matchup against the Rockies, but there's a reason it's taken him so long to get to the pros. Talent is a little bit of an issue. So all those caveats are there for him. Brian Wu was the Mariners. They picked him in the 6th round of the 2021 draft. He was a reliever for 3 years in college, had a couple of spot starts, but was mostly a reliever. Seattle liked his strikeout stuff, figured they could make him a starter. They have, and they've also been very judicious with his workload because he's had a variety of injuries, nagging injuries. So he looks good to go at this point. It's a good matchup, or good pitching weather in Seattle. So he's kind of a top choice. And then you've got Corbin Burns, who has finished top 6 in the Cy Young Awards, I think 5 times. Last 5 years he's been an all-star. He won the Cy Young Award in 2021. He is not having a good year right now. Of course, he did have to face the Yankees and the Torpedo Bats. So he is the most accomplished pitcher. But I see we have Kumar Rocker here as the top pitcher in our tools. That was something that wasn't around this morning when I was doing my write-ups, Matt. What is your read here? Because this is an adventure for pitching tonight, because there's not one obvious answer, in my opinion, here.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused on the Rocker stuff here. Like, I get it. It's Seattle, but like, he has not shown that he's capable of really performing at a consistent level at a consistent basis on the major league level. Like, I know he's got a career full of strikeouts, at the minor league and college level, but at the pros, I mean, you just look even so far in the small sample size of this year, he's getting hit around 7.88 ERA. His expected is 6.22, only striking out a little over 10% of hitters. Like, I just don't really understand why he's so far and away the top pitcher in the tools. I mean, if that sticks and the ownership sticks, like, I don't think there are really good options tonight. It kind of looks like today's slate, but man, that really stands out as just being wild. Like, what has Kumar Rocker shown to be like that much higher in the tools than Corbin Burns or Brian Wu, even against Seattle in Seattle? I just personally don't see it. I mean, you can talk about his pedigree and his talent all day, but he has not shown, again, at the major league level that he can consistently get out hitters, let alone strike out hitters. So looking at this ownership, like, I want to stack Seattle, not going to lie. Doesn't mean they're the best stack on the board. Doesn't mean Rocker's a bad play, but I personally just don't see it. Do you?
No. So I'm interested that you are taking the same approach here. Again, these are, one of the things. This is the, does it make sense? And we're going against, tried and true tools, but the chaos of baseball, the massive error bars or range of outcomes on anything. We could be spot on our analysis and it not happen, or it does happen, and it doesn't mean we're right or wrong.
Like,
that's what happens with baseball.
I will say this also. I hardly ever say this. Like, the tools have done great to me. So I don't use them as a Bible, because I don't use anything as a Bible like that. But I do use the tools as like a guide to every slate I look at. This one seems wrong to me. Like, I'm not going to be surprised if when they get an update, like after the early slate locks, that it changes completely. Maybe I'm just off. Maybe I'm off my rocker here, pun intended. But like, I just don't see it. I mean, again, I know his pedigree. I know that he's a guy at Vanderbilt that struck out, tons and tons of hitters. But that's a far cry from the major league level. And like, again, it's not even that like he's a play on this slate. He looks like the best pitcher of the entire day per the tools. So I don't see it like that.
Yeah. I see Living in Time TV, aka Lit TV, has a quick question. Says, is this for real? Are these guys helping themselves lose money by doing this? This seems counterproductive. Yes and no. On the surface, it seems a little counterproductive, but we've got 300 or 400 people probably watching right now. There are probably 3,000 or 4,000 people playing DFS today, maybe even more.
Way more than that, probably.
Way more than
playing,
that,
and way more watching too.
Yeah. So the other thing or in this, we're helping to provide our vision and guidance for the chaos here, but they're, the old saying, that's why they play the games, right? It's still got to happen on the field. So these shows have been around since 2012, I think is when the first shows popped up here, 2011, 2012, all the way back on RG, on Rotor Grinders. When it was Al Smizzle and David Kitchen and Beermakers Fan, I think were the first three hosts, and Dan Bach. So this has been around for a long time. There are half a dozen, maybe probably more at this point. Maybe it's even a dozen people that do YouTube videos, etc. A lot more for baseball and double that for football. Probably a lot more for basketball, double that for football. Baseball's kind of more of a niche sport because it's really the seam heads and the nerds that are playing. Because that's just how it's not as exciting to watch, but it's fun and it's a relentless 6 months here. So long way of answering your question. I don't think we're really hurting or helping ourselves personally. I think we're helping others save time using the tools here at Stokastic. We also use these to talk about the tools, help you understand how to use them, etc. But I don't feel like we're losing anything by doing these shows at this point. It's a lot now that there's actual projections. Like when I started doing this, there weren't starting lineup pages for baseball. You didn't know who the starters were. There would be message boards where people would say what they saw on TV when the lineup cards were announced pregame. That was it. So things have changed dramatically. Now you got the green check marks and all this aggregators, etc. Is it tougher? Yes. Are we damaging stuff? I don't really think so. Or our chances anyway. Oh, all right. Back to the baseball part of it here. Andrew Heaney off to a nice start. We've got Andrew Abbott making his first appearance of the year. He's been dealing with injuries. He's always an interesting pitcher. I mentioned this, at least once a year when he's healthy. When you watch him pitch, you're like, how does this guy not get more strikeouts? It's the weirdest thing, but then it's like, all right, well, someone's going to make mistakes, and we now have a long enough track record. I thought he'd be like, Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo. Obviously, all three of them are entirely different pitchers when compared to each other, but just the high strikeout guy, and it just doesn't seem to happen for him. When everything's working for him, he's nails, but most of the time he's just kind of a back or rotation starter. It's kind of an interesting observation. I don't know that we've had this conversation. Do you feel the same about Abbott there?
Yeah, I think that he's fine. Like, he's nothing special. There are slates where I think he's in play, and there are slates where I think you want to pick on him. He's that type of pitcher to me.
And he is in the Great American Small Park. Sadly, it is Pittsburgh going against him. So that's kind of a matchup on either side. Let's see. Kyle Hart, Ben Brown. Oof, Ben Brown has had a tough run out here. This will be the second time he's faced the Dodgers. He saw them in that Tokyo series. He has just had a gazillion walks. That's a problem. 15 strikeouts, pretty cool, but he has a ton of walks, 9 walks in 11 and 2/3 innings. That's resulted in 11 runs allowed here. He's going against the triple threat MVP top lineup there with Freddie Freeman back. So you got Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith. Those guys are all awesome. Michael Conforto, the embarrassment of riches continue. Max Muncy, a couple years ago, he was in the heart of the order. Now he's batting 7th or 8th. He loves to swing from his heels, never gets cheated at the plate. Usually, kind of like Coors Field, I don't like talking about the Dodgers a ton just because it's like, well, they're the Dodgers and they're paying gazillions of dollars for this team, but they look really, really good tonight, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, insert slate here and the Dodgers are going to look good because they're the Dodgers, So nothing's different about tonight. They're expensive. They're not even as expensive as the Cubs, which is weird. But yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are going to look elite on a lot of slates. I don't think tonight is any exception. Now, I respect Ben Brown enough where he's not a guy I'm automatically I need to pick on him. It's just the Dodgers, and he's not someone I'm afraid to pick on either. So I do think they look like the best stack on the board. They're not getting the most ownership. Houston is right now against Tyler Anderson. They're a lot cheaper. They went off last night. Yeah, I mean, give me the Dodgers here against Ben Brown. I don't really think there's, an argument to be made. That they're not the best stack on the board, to be completely honest.
Is there anybody else that you would consider playing here? I mean, Roki Sasaki, Chase Dollinger is not horrible, and that San Diego lineup is not completely terrifying against lefties. Juan Soto not being there makes a big difference. Obviously, he's 2 years removed from that, but the Manny Machado continues to get older. It's not quite the offense that it has been of prior years. What do you think of our remaining options here, or is it time to attack the stacks?
No, yeah, I mean, all I really said was that I think Kumar Rocker's a bad play, so I didn't even talk about guys I do like. I'm with you on Brian Wu. The Tools don't love him, but I'm a Wu fan. Texas's lineup doesn't scare me. Do I think it's a perfect spot? No. On a lot of slates, he'd be an afterthought, but tonight I think he looks like a really good option. Corbin Burns, also someone I rarely play. He just doesn't have the strikeout upside for a guy that's usually 10K and above or around 10K. Tonight, though, I could see it. I mean, again, it's like the day slate. We just don't have good pitching options. So whether it's Corbin Burns, Brian Wu, you're overpaying for these guys, but you're also not playing a chalky Kumar Rocker. And I feel better about Burns and Wu, not killing your lineup than Rocker. You mentioned Kyle Hart. Hart is fits for me on the day slate. He's not that good, but neither are the other SB2 options on this slate, and he gets the Rockies. So yeah, totally fine with Kyle Hart. Ryan Gusto is a little bit intriguing to me just because he's got a live arm. He's cheap. He's got basically the same top 2 pitcher percentage as Kyle Hart, and he's getting a quarter of the ownership. So yeah, give me some Gusto here.
Did you just say go with the Gusto?
No, I'm just thinking about my work log talking about Gusto. So I'm thinking about my work log talking about Gusto. I don't know. I don't feel great about him. I mean, how could you? He hasn't even made a start this year. But again, I think he's got talent. I'm not necessarily afraid of the Angels. I mean, again, I'll just go to the tools here. He's got basically the same top 2 pitcher percentage as Hart, a quarter of the ownership. I'm going to get on board with guys like that all day.
Yeah, Hart was, Gusto, like many pitchers, he came in, was drafted. I think he was in, Southwest Florida Southwestern State. Never heard of it. He was drafted in 2019. Pandemic kind of screwed him over on a lot of pitchers because they had their alternate training sites, but the low A ball guys just weren't there. So it was a delayed development for him. He did have 150 innings mostly in AAA last year. So looks like he projects like a back of the rotation starter here. They've started him out in the bullpen. He's an arm. Chad Patrick also was drafted in 2021. He's worked his way up through the ranks. Adequate strikeout stuff, it looks like, in AA and AAA. Sort of as you mentioned, these guys have enough talent to at least earn their way in. Now what they do with these opportunities, we'll find out. But that's kind of the dregs of our pitching options here. Let's see, what else do we have? We talked about the link join for everybody. Oh, we got to talk about the Osmo Hall of Fame. So, pardon me, the Stokastic Hall of Fame. That was Osmo was fun, and that was a long time ago, but we are Stokastic now. I will drop that link into chat because that is how you guys can get free Stokastic sims. Let's share this screen here in StreamYard, and I think I broke it. After congratulating myself for being a good producer, I just showed that I am not. But here we go. So go to the link I dropped in chat. You download one of the cool Stokastic avatars, upload that to your DFS site of choice, and if you finish top 3 in any contest with at least 5,000 entries, you will have the opportunity to send a tweet to Stokastic HOF with your winning screenshot showing that Stokastic avatar, and we will get you your choice of 30 days of the Stokastic sims. So here are the different levels of the Hall of Fame. Lofty does the shout out videos, etc. So check this out. Pretty good. Some cool stuff there. All right. Back to share this tab instead. Let's see if I can transition. There we go. Let's go to our stacks here. So we kind of shouted out a couple stacks here, but I'll hand this back over to you, Matt. What is your top couple stacks for tonight's slate?
Yeah, so the Dodgers are going to be the top stack. I mean, anytime they're facing like not an elite pitcher, they're going to look good. And tonight they're facing competent but not elite pitcher in Ben Brown. So they're going to look great. They look great. If you can get to them, great. I don't think they're a must play against Brown, but they look good here. Chad Patrick, I'm not completely buying what he's selling. Arizona looks good here. No Ketel Marte hurts, but still got a really good lineup. They run a ton. So I think between Arizona and the Dodgers, they're your two best stacks. Houston, again, I mentioned them. Like Tyler Anderson is not good, but he's also not a gas can. He's a guy that I think people try to pick on a little bit too much. I get it.
He's the fly ball version of Martin Perez.
Right. And I mean, I get it. Like Houston has started to get going. They got power in their lineup. Like, I don't think Christian Walker, Isaac Paredes, all these guys are bad plays. They're just overowned compared to the other spots on this slate. I do think that those are the teams that stand out to me. I have some interest in Cincy against Heaney. Heaney coming off that monster start. He's getting love. I mean, I like to zigzag with him. When he's popular, I'll stack against him. When he's not, I'll use him. He's getting love today. Cincy is not really that popular. I feel like you could get to Colorado against Kyle Hart because Kyle Hart is not good. Colorado is even worse than him, though. And I think you might just be better off not playing Kyle Hart than playing Rockies against him, simply for the fact that it takes a lot. The Rockies don't win many slates on the road. Even if their pitcher is the opposing pitcher isn't great, still hard for the Rockies to fully get there. But I don't mind using pieces of them. And then Seattle, like the Tools don't like Seattle, but the Tools also love Kumar Rocker. I mean, if he's really going to be that popular, I'll play Seattle here. Like, it doesn't feel good. They're not great, but they've got talent in their lineup. Even without Robles, the top of their lineup, certainly, especially with Polanco, healthy and hitting. I actually like Seattle here. I hate saying it, but it's just to play against Rocker, to be honest.
So interesting enough, there are two other sites that I subscribe to cross triangulate things, and they both have Kumar Rocker as the fourth best pitcher. I would not have thought that this morning.
As the fourth best pitcher?
Well, I'm top four. I mean, I don't want to give out their content.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, I didn't know if you were saying he was not the first or that he was that high.
It's that he's that high. If we look at raw projections, it's Burns and Wu. Okay, that everybody's going to look at that and come to that conclusion. Kyle Hart, because of the matchup, in that now we're full tier down from everybody else, but Rocker is in that mix. So that, I mean, I guess it's a combination of Seattle being the most pitching friendly park at this point, decent pitching weather, and then the Mariners are, there's nobody terrifying in that lineup. Even Julio Rodriguez, looks like he had an amazing, was that his first or second season? And he's kind of come back to earth after that. But nobody terrifying in that lineup. It's just, I don't like it either. So interesting. All right, let's see if anybody has some questions here. We can do some. I'm sure somebody will want the nuke of the night. Let's look at it. Let's give our top three pitchers for the early slate and our top stacks, the home run, Matt.
Yeah, so top pitchers on the early slate, it's going to be Sandy is the clear number one. He's the top pitcher of the day, on either slate in my eyes, pretty clearly. Yep. If I could only roster one pitcher, combining the day and night slate, it's going to be Alcantara all day. Not even a question for me. Doesn't mean it's going to work out. Just on paper, he looks that much better than everyone else. Then I'm going to say the next two are Rasmussen, who I think is overowned but looks good, comparatively, and then Dick Fitz. Again, more playing against the White Sox than Fitz himself, but he's fine. He's not really that much worse than the other SB2s on this slate, and he gets the White Sox. So I think Trevor Williams is in the mix too, but for me, I'll say Sandy, Rasmussen, Fitz.
Yeah, I'm landing essentially the same as you with all the caveats, so no need to grind that one into dust here. One of the wagers I did make was the Marlins first five minus 1.5 on the run line. So they need to be leading by 2 after the first 5 innings. I like that one against Trevor Williams. It was at a much better number than it is right now earlier today. Again, courtesy of Portfolio EV over there on OddsShopper. These as the good lines show up, they get hit pretty quickly by people watching this stuff like hawks. So you don't want to dilly-dally on these, but that was a good line earlier today. I wrote that one up in the article. I'll drop that link into chat. Who is your home run on the early slate here?
I'm going to go a little off the board. Guy has not homered yet, has barely gotten any hits, but give me Brett Beatty. Spring training hero, quadruple A god. Brett Beatty going yard today. I like the Mets stack a lot. I mean, we didn't talk about them too much, but they look like by far the best raw point stack on the early slate. So, yeah, give me Brett Beatty in the 7 hole to go yard today.
All right. Well, Jose Siri didn't come to fruition for me yesterday as my call out. Today I'm gonna be a little more on par. Brandon Lowe is going to be my guy for Tampa Bay.
Well, you better say his name right, Brandon Lowe.
Yeah, it's Brandon Lowe, and it's Nate Lowe.
I mean, come on. You're going to give him your guy and say he's your guy as your home run call.
I know. I bricked on that one, and I even have a the mnemonic is because it's Nathaniel Lowe, and even though they played on the same team, when they both played for Tampa, it was hilarious. But Nate Dogg gets Lowe, so that's how I remember Lowe and Lowe. Got it back.
Well, Nate Lowe never even played for Tampa, but his brother Josh does and did.
Oh, Josh. Was it Josh? Okay. He's hurt, though, right?
Yes, he is.
All right. On that.
I want to say one more thing about the early slate that I didn't mention.
Absolutely.
So this is in the weeds a little bit and probably means nothing. But, you talked about Sagano coming over, has pitched. He's old. He's pitched a number of years in Japan. The Blue Jays have already seen him. And I feel like a lot of these pitchers are much better. You know, the guys coming overseas that aren't like the elite guys. Sagano was never, you know, an elite pitcher that was projected to make huge money in America. He's just a guy that was good. And, you know, teams have started to bring more guys over. This is the second time the Blue Jays have seen him here. That might mean something. Like, his underlying numbers are not good. He doesn't strike anyone out. The Blue Jays have been underwhelming, but I think it could prove to be in their benefit that they've seen him, and not that they know what's coming, but again, we saw it with like Senga, and I can't remember who else were just dominant first time they saw teams, and the second time the numbers were drastically different. Not saying that that's going to happen here, but it's in the back of my mind. I'll say that.
That's definitely a good call out. Good call out. Anything you want to hit for the main slate? Top pitcher is
Man, that's
Burns.
tough. Like,
Burns,
I guess
Woo.
Burns.
Gotta be Woo. Oh, you're gonna go Burns. Okay.
It's Burns and Woo. Like, it's Burns and Woo, but I don't love either of them. It's, you know,
this is the both sides are the scumdacker. This is why baseball. This is why 100 150 entries are helpful, because we don't know what's going to happen. Similar to the old thing, you're going to win a third of your games no matter how bad you are. You're going to lose a third no matter how good you are. It's what you
tell that to the White Sox, though.
Right. Well, there are, and the Motor City Kitties.
Yeah,
although they're a little better this year, maybe. Just maybe.
Yeah, I think they'll be good this year. I mean, they were good last year. They came on really strong. They won that wild card round. They faced the Guardians in the first round of the playoffs.
That was smoke and mirrors and a good pitching staff.
I think so was the Guardians.
Oh, all right. Top stack on your late slate.
I'll say the Dodgers with a taste of Seattle against that Rocker ownership.
I would concur. This is just that lineup is just too good of a matchup. Now, I mean, thankfully, 6,100 for Mookie Betts, 6,600 for DraftKings. These aren't slam dunks by any stretch, but that's where all of a sudden you start looking at you get Hart in there for some savings, pick a couple cheapy outfielders, etc. So that would be that. Let's see if we have any other questions, or we're going to slide on out of here. Shout out to Guitar Z-Man. I see he's over there on playback. Remember, tomorrow we're going to do baseball live before lock, but then we also have NBA live before lock. It looks like DraftKings has split the slate in two for NBA. They're doing a set of 1 o'clock games and a set of 3:30 games for their tournaments. FanDuel looks like they're mostly going with the 3:30 slate. So definitely check that out. It should be a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody being here on a Saturday. Hit that like button. It does help us out tremendously. And the boss people are always looking to see how we do. I will drop the article into chat here. That's got main and late, or early and late slate content there. And you're asking, what is the bottle behind?
Behind me?
No, behind me. I'm not sure what they're looking. I mean, back there, that's a wine rack. It used to be. I don't drink wine, but my wife likes it. But it's empty now because we weren't here for several months with the hurricane and the humidity and all of that. So we moved that all down there. And then there's some high end liquor that none of us really, we've gotten as gifts, but we don't really drink it. So it's sitting there looking nice. Our guests can have it as they see fit. So come on down, belly up to the bar. We've got a variety. There's some Glenfiddich sitting over there and some other stuff. So my party days are long gone. So I hardly even notice that over there these days. So in any event, all right, let's get on out of here. Oh, underneath the wine rack. Yeah, that's it's hard alcohol. I think there's some Bailey's there's something besides Glenfiddich there, Irish whiskey. And then, my wife went to a bourbon distillery. And so she, you can get one of those where they etch your name on the bottle, etc. So we have that over there as well. Again, stuff we will never be drinking, but it's over there. So, all right. With that fun, we'll take a tour on part of the house later. Although, wait, I've got my camera. Let's see if this can work. I don't know if you guys can see outside. Does that work? No, can't quite see the beach. We'll do that. We'll do that another time. But with that, we're going to get on out of here. Thank you everybody for watching the show. Hit the like button as you slide on out of here. If you are in Discord, hit us up if you have questions for the 7 o'clock slate, as well as 6:40 on DraftKings, 7:10 on FanDuel. With that, gamers, good luck.